Dulce Ivana was a young girl full of life, shining with hopes and dreams. But one day, everything went dark. It started like a normal day. She left home to step into her future, but then she never came back. She was so young that she disappeared before she even finished secondary school. Unfortunately, this disappearance did not even receive an Amber Alert. A desperate family, anguished comments on social media, and a murky case. There was only one clue: a body left on the side of the road in Mexico. If you are ready, let's start with the details of this case, where justice has once again been denied. Dulce Ivana nor Easy was born on November 2, 2003 in Mexico. A cheerful, loving daughter from a middle-class family, she had big dreams and high hopes. At 16, she was energetic, popular, and well-liked at school. Her biggest goal was to go to university and embark on a brighter future. On December 10, 2019, before leaving home, Dulce had breakfast with her family, said goodbye to her sister, and planned to spend the day registering for school. Later that day, however, she was not heard from again. Unable to reach her by phone, her family called relatives but found no trace of her. Worried, the family wasted no time and filed a missing persons report with the prosecutor's office on the morning of December 11th. They asked the police to activate the Amber Alert. However, the police said that there was no possibility, that Dulce had disappeared, and that it was unnecessary to activate the Amber Alert. Yet this disappearance had turned a day, when everything was normal, into a dark riddle. The family persistently demanded that the Amber Alert be published. However, the negative response and lack of interest from the security forces was beginning to wear on the family's patience. They knew how precious time is for a missing child, and they wanted the alert to be activated as soon as possible. But unfortunately, their wish was not granted. So, what is the Amber Alert, and why is it so important? The Amber Alert is an emergency notification system launched in the US in 1996 to quickly find missing children. The system aims to increase the likelihood of being found by disseminating information, such as the child's physical characteristics and last known whereabouts, to a wide audience. Since the first hours are critical, it is very important that Amber Alerts spread quickly. Unfortunately, this system did not work for Dulce Ivana. As the family grew more desperate by the minute, the lack of an official alert hampered their efforts to find their missing daughter. With the Amber Alert not going out, Dulce's family and relatives decided to search on their own. They launched campaigns on social media, created posters with Dulce's photos and information, and reached out to people they knew to ask for help. They struggled to find their daughter with their own means. With limited resources, growing more desperate with each passing hour, the family pressed for the Amber Alert to be issued as soon as possible, but the police remained inactive. Dulce Ivana's disappearance then went viral on social media, and the public united to find the young girl. Her photos became recognized not only in Guanajuato, but throughout Mexico and beyond. As the days passed, it was learned that Dulce was walking on Miguel Hidalgo Boulevard in Colonia Valle del Sol between 10 and 11 p.m. when she disappeared. He was accompanied by an unidentified young man, similar in age to Dulce. Witnesses said that Dulce appeared to be safe and was laughing and walking with the youth. However, police have still not identified this person. The Amber Alert was issued on December 18th, 8 days after the disappearance. This delay was at the request of the police, and was a critical loss, because a missing child is more likely to be found alive in the first hours. The family's hope was fueled by social media and public support. But unfortunately, 9 days later, a burnt body was found near the Mesa de Ibarrilla road. The unidentified body had been horribly destroyed. But this finding was not a step closer to solving the case. The facts remain murky. Cremation was a method used to erase the traces of death, making identification extremely difficult. On December 21st, forensic experts confirmed through DNA tests that the body was Dulce Ivana's. However, the cause of death could not be immediately determined because the body had been burned. But a glimmer of hope appeared in the darkness. A man went to the prosecutor's office and confessed that his son was Dulce's killer. According to a second version, this father allegedly showed the authorities where the body was after his son had burned it. He asked for help to get to the vacant lot where his son would have left the body. Whichever version is correct, just 3 days after the body was identified, a young man named Antonio N. was arrested. The identity of this man, who is known to be Dulce's age, has not been fully disclosed. But his social media accounts and witnesses around him revealed that he and Dulce had been friends for several years and had attempted to establish a romantic relationship. Their photos and posts provided evidence confirming their close relationship. So, was the arrested young man the real murderer? Dulce always gently rejected Antonio's feelings and made it clear that she could only be his friend. Although he seemed to accept the situation, Antonio sometimes admitted to friends that these relationships were not easy. After his arrest, his correspondence on social media began to surface, particularly with other girls of a similar age to Dulce. Antonio's Facebook profile, under the name Shava Plessy, had over 4,000 friends, most of them Dulce's peers. These girls shared screenshots of the messages Antonio sent them, exposing the young man's obsessive behavior. The messages usually started with a simple greeting, Antonio asking how they were doing, complimenting them, and suggesting a date. However, most of the girls did not respond to these messages, so Antonio continued to message them for several days. When they didn't respond, he would start insulting them. This was part of his approach to social media relationships. When explaining to his friends why girls rejected him, he often stated that they were only offering him friendship. At the time, there were not many details about the incident, and from those days to today, there are still many unknowns about the young girl who disappeared. On December 10th, 2019, there was no clear information about what happened between Dulce and Antonio. However, it was rumored in the media that on that day, according to Antonio's confession, he met Dulce and took her to school registration. However, while everything was going calmly, Antonio once again decided to open up about his feelings. However, Dulce again politely refused, stating that they could only remain friends. Antonio decided to take revenge on Dulce for her rejection. Her body was burned so an autopsy could not be performed, and witnesses did not indicate that Antonio used violence against Dulce or tried to take her away by force. It was still unclear how the incident unfolded. Some media outlets have claimed that Dulce may have been sexually abused, but this has not been officially confirmed. Dulce's Facebook profile included farewell messages from family and friends, as well as comments from strangers. Some users defended Antonio and blamed Dulce. In the media, messages defending Antonio and accusing Dulce spread. The family faced difficulties to receive the body as they struggled with media pressure. On December 28, 2019, Dulce's body was buried with family and friends. A few days later, Antonio was charged with murder, but no concrete information about the investigation was provided. Dulce's family have not lost hope that they will pursue justice, but have remained aloof from the media. Dulce's family was supported by those demanding justice and advocating for a model sentence for Antonio. However, the investigation process was delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In August 2020, Dulce's sister, Easy, criticized state negligence and delays, stating that the investigation was moving slowly. Recounted that, on December 10th, she had requested an Amber Alert with the prosecutor's office, but was denied by the police, and it was assumed that she was only on vacation when she disappeared. 7 days later, the Amber Alert was initiated, but 2 days later, Dulce's body was found. The family is devastated by this tragic development, and justice has become the only way out of their suffering. Dulce's family fought hard for justice, fought not only for her sister, but also for psychological support for her parents, but she received no response. In 2021, there was no progress in the case, and the prosecutor's office announced that Antonio would receive no more than 5 years in prison. His father had helped bring his son to justice by denouncing him, but then regretted it and tried to save him. The progress of the case was slowed by COVID-19, but the situation was complicated by the father's retraction of his statements. Dulce's family fought the feminist murder charge to get Antonio the maximum sentence. In March 2021, rumors spread that Antonio would be released, but stated that it was not true. The hearings were postponed, and in the end, Antonio was given only 5 years in prison. The family was very disappointed with the lack of justice and emphasized that the justice system continues to protect criminals, stating that social murders are normalized. Dear viewers, thank you for joining this broadcast. If you liked it, please hit the like button and leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next broadcast. Good night.